What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Spinfuel's Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today is Fresh Build Friday. That's right, we got a brand new coil for you guys today. We're doing something a little bit different. Today we'll be using Spider Silk 24 gauge titanium wire. And for those of you that have seen my previous video, I've used 26 gauge in the past, so this is something brand new to me as well. So we will be building on the Wismic Relo 200 watt box mod with a Kennedy 24mm atomizer. So grab your mod, grab your wick, your wire, and your atomizer, and let's go ahead down to the close-ups and build it up. Alright guys, so as you can see, I have my 24mm Kennedy on top of the Wismic Relo, and that's what we're going to be building on today. Feel free to build along with anything you got that has titanium wire support in your chip itself. So before we begin, I do want to just put that aside and show you guys the wire we're going to be using today, which is going to be Spider Silk. This is titanium wire, 24 gauge. We're going to be doing a pretty decent sized coil today. And before I begin, I do want to show you guys what's inside. So first of all, they give you a little bit of Japanese cotton, which is really handy. You know, you always like building with your Japanese cotton. Well, they supply you with some. So there you go. Put that aside. Here's the wire itself. Now the manufacturer states that they go through a cleaning process before it even reaches the shelves, but I usually go ahead and just do a little bit of a deep clean on it myself, and I use these little sterile alcohol wipe pads, and that usually gets any remaining gunk off of there. Now, I do recommend you clean any titanium wire that you get. I've heard that Spider Silk is a pretty decent brand, and they go through a rigorous cleaning process, but if you're like me, I like to make sure it's good and safe. And a lot of you gave me some really great tips from the last titanium wire build video that I did, and I do appreciate that, guys. So big shout out to everyone that, you know, helped me along the way. So we're going to be doing a dual coil today, so I'm going to need about 1.5 feet of wire. So right there, oops, that looks about right. Just going to go ahead and clip that off, put the rest aside, get out my little alcohol swab here. And basically what you want to do is just run your fingers along the length of the wire, just holding the wire in between the alcohol pad, and just kind of give it a little quick scrub. And this is just for me personally. If you're working with anything that's not Spider Silk wire, you might want to give it a good clean, because there will be a little bit of residue on there. Let me see if I can give you guys a close-up of that. So that's basically what you should be expecting out of titanium wire when you do get it. So it's kind of important that you do this process, because you want to be safe, and the best way to do that is to just clean up your wire before you use it. So I'm just going to run it through one more time and we'll start building. So today I'm going to be wrapping around this little screw right here, and you guys gave me a lot of tips in the last video, which I do want to thank you guys so much for, because it definitely helped. People told me that from the last video I did a parallel coil, and then I unraveled that coil to make 2 separate spaced coils, and that was kind of the slow, laborious way to do it. The best way to do it, from what I gather, is around a screw like this with a nice fine thread to it. That way you get a perfectly spaced out coil every single time. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So let's go ahead and grab our piece of wire and start wrapping. So it's pretty springy stuff to work with, but hopefully you guys got the gist of that. Right now I've got a 10 wrap spaced coil, and I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that process and do another one. And there we go, that's what I ended up with. So as you can see, 2 spaced 10 wrap coils. I'm going to guess around 3.5 millimeter in diameter. Let's go ahead, back off the camera, and we'll get building. Alright, so let's go ahead and install our coils. So there we go. Just kind of position it about where you want it. It's not going to be perfect until you fix it up after. I usually try to get the negative post installed first. And with this stuff, it's pretty fragile, so you don't want to crank down that wire too tight. You just want it just barely snug. So like normal, you just bend up that positive post on there. And we're going to go ahead and work on the other side now. And when you get your positives roughly where you like them, just go ahead and tighten those down too. Alright, when that's done, just clip off your leads. So after a bit of neatening it up and clipping off the rest of those leads, this is pretty much what you should be looking at right now. The coils are lifted a little bit off the posts there, the deck. Give it a little bit of clearance above the air holes, and we're ready to wick. So let's go ahead and do that. Japanese cotton today, straight out of that tin. So here we go. Just going to use about half a sheet per coil. I usually use the rough side out, and that usually works out pretty good for me. Just like you normally wick, just kind of taper one end, feed it on through. There we go, there's one side done. Let's go ahead and repeat that process. And just as a little final touch-up, I usually like to take the flathead screwdriver, give it a quick fluff up. And tuck it into the well. Of course, trying not to crush the cotton too much. You don't want to compress those fibers. Alright, so we are ready to drip some juice on top. Today I'm going to be using the key lime one from Captain Obvious. Hopefully you guys watch my review. This stuff is good and thick. 90-10 should be for good vapor production here. So I'm just going to soak the whole thing. Alright, so we're ready to fire this baby up. Let me just get a close-up shot of the screen here. As you can see, I'm vaping at 450 degrees. It meters in right at 0.2 ohms, and I have it at 40 watts on titanium mode. So let's see some vapor production. Now, I haven't really messed around with this thing too much, so I'm not really sure what I should be setting it on as far as temperature and wattage, but I'll have to mess around with it a little bit more and discover what works best. But let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape off of this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, we are back, and now we're going to talk a little bit about this build. I gotta tell you, stuff is a little bit more difficult to work with than normal Kanthal or nichrome or anything like that. That being said, I'd like to say that this build should be only for a very well-trained builder, someone that really knows what they're doing, just to be on the safe side. Now, there are a few factors that come into play when it comes to titanium wire. First of all, it's the cleanliness of the wire. As you saw in the close-ups, I cleaned it thoroughly with an alcohol swab, and I do recommend you try that next time you build with titanium. After you build your coils and everything like that, you don't want to heat them up before you put your cotton through it and you juice it up, because if you heat up titanium wire to the point when it's white hot, it can leak out toxic salts into your juice that you don't want to inhale, that's for sure. That being said, if you don't heat up your coils before you wick it and juice it, you can use this type of wire on pretty much any type of mod that you have. You can even use it on a mechanical. I went to ECC and visited their booth, the Spider Silk booth, and one of their representatives was actually using it on an unregulated box mod, and he had, I believe it was probably a 14 wrap or something like that, dual coil, and it was ripping. So you can use this stuff on anything, but just be very, very, very cautious about it. I mean, I really only recommend this stuff for professionals and for people that have a ton of experience building. So more about this build, the specs I have it on it right now, it came out to 0.2 ohm. I'm using it at 40 watts at 450 degrees in titanium mode on the Rouleau, and it's working out pretty well for me. There is a bit of a ramp up time, so I'm going to have to fiddle with the settings on this thing and see if I can get it to the point when I can actually, you know, really enjoy this one. So before we go any further, let me take a few rips off of this thing. So as you can see, I'm getting plenty of vapor production off of these coils, and I really do enjoy this build. I think that the titanium wire is something that really isn't used often enough in this industry. I think a lot of people get kind of scared of it because of the fact that if you superheat it, then it can leak out the toxic salts, but as long as you're safe and careful with it, I think it's just like any other wire type out there, and I think it'll give you really stellar production. So if you want to try this build, I'll have a link to Spider Silk in the description below. Let me know what you thought of this build in the comments section below. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of feedback from this one. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. The support is really awesome, guys. I'm really closing in close to 5,000 subscribers, and I will be doing a giveaway very shortly. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you like this video. For more of my videos, check out spinfuel.com. I have all my stuff up there, as well as Smoke and Joy and Spinfuel official videos. And as always, vape on.